Hey everybody, and welcome back to BK's Bullets. Today we're going to be talking about Batman Earth 1 Volume 3. Hey everybody, and welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I am your host, Brent, and today we're going to be reviewing Batman Earth 1 Volume 3. But before we get into the review, let me ask you to please do one thing. Please subscribe. Helps me out, helps the channel grow, lets you know when I drop new videos, all that good stuff. Hit that bell if you're really crazy. Now, Batman Earth 1 Volume 3. This is a mouthful, just like every other Earth 1 graphic novel, because there's the title of the world that they're in and the volume number, and it's a lot. It's always a lot to talk about. So if I get messed up, I'm sorry, but it's a lot. So this is the latest and possibly last graphic novel in the Earth 1 line. And I say last, and I mean like last of the Batman line, and also maybe the last of the Earth 1 line. Last year, was it earlier this year, we had Wonder Woman Volume 3 come out. We had Green Lantern Volume 2 come out, which was really good. I think that came out last year. And I've done reviews on the channel of Volume 1, which came out in 2012. Volume 2, which came out in 2015. Those are up on the channel. And now we have Volume 3 here in 2021. So almost a 10-year journey to get through these 3 volumes of books. Now, that hasn't been everything that this team's been working on. I mean, Geoff Johns was writing a whole lot in the early 2010s, and he kind of stepped back from that to do some movie stuff, which obviously we kind of know that he failed. The last thing he was doing was the Doomsday Clock series at DC. This is the 2-volume, it's not really a 2-volume set. I had to buy these individually. And the second volume came with the hardcover. I got an overview of this on the channel as well if you want to see this. But Earth 1 Volume 3 kind of seems a little bit lackluster. I don't know what was going on, when it was worked on, all that sort of stuff. I do know that this has been done for a while. I think Gary Frank has said a number of times that Earth 1 Volume 3 has been done. It was just waiting to be printed and put out, released, whatever. So I'm not really sure if this was worked on at the same time as Doomsday Clock or what followed what. Who knows? I will say that maybe possibly because of Doomsday Clock, and this took so long to come out, and this is just 12 issues here. I don't know if it reflects on Earth 1 Volume 3, but I feel like it does in terms of the art quality. Now, I also want to caveat that and say I think Gary Frank is a great artist, but there were some panels and pages in here where I was just kind of like scratching my head. The first time we see Killer Croc in here, it's kind of a midway shot and stuff. You know, this panel and this panel wasn't really that impressed with. And I know, Brent, you're picking apart panels. How can you be doing that? On top, you know, on the whole, the book still lives up to Gary Frank's standards. But having reread Volume 1 and Volume 2 and raved about the phenomenal quality of the artwork all the way through across the board, the attention to detail, everything was just 5 stars, A+ worked. To be waiting for Volume 3 and then to open it up and read and see these panels that looked like maybe they weren't completely looked over or finished or rushed, I don't know. And I'm only can speculate because I know that Doomsday Clock took forever and maybe they were being worked on at the same time. I kind of want to blame Doomsday Clock instead of, for loosening Gary Frank's art of the quality that I expected from the Batman Earth 1 graphic novel. Does that make any sense to you? If Gary Frank, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. I still think you're a fantastic artist. It was just like the first 3 pages in and you're going, yeah, this doesn't look as good as it does. The other thing that's weird about this graphic novel is that I feel like, and this is a physical thing, it's still got the ribbon, the textured ribbon that I love, the hardback, the no BS dust jacket. I hate dust jackets. I like this approach much better. Printed on the board, damn it. I feel like there's 2 kinds of paper in my copy. I don't know if it's just mine, but literally the first couple pages, there's kind of like a semi-gloss, feels more matte. And then as I got to the end of the book, there is a different texture to it for sure, where it's like full gloss and more like the paper that Earth 1, Volume 2, and Volume 1, the Batman books, and the other graphic novels in this line were printed on. They were printed on this nice glossy paper. So it is maybe that also made the art not pop a bit in the very beginning, and that's kind of what I was thumbing my nose at a little bit. I mean, certainly I was kind of just picking on that first couple panels there when you see the main characters, and after that, everything, the art does come together of the same quality that one would expect from Gary Frank, who's a phenomenal artist, and the attention to detail he's put into designing this world and all that stuff. So, you know, I don't know if it was the you really can't see it in this. There's no way you're going to be able to see it on camera. But like, just look at this left page here with the white border, and then look at this page with the white border. I don't know. There's definitely a texture difference to my fingers for certain. Does that affect the art? I have no clue. I do know. I do remember seeing, like, on Twitter, Gary Frank. If you follow him, when they printed the single volume of Doomsday Clock, the trade paperback version, it's on matte paper. It's not glossy paper like is in the hardbacks here. And he said, as it was meant to be printed. But I gotta say, this glossy paper in here is pretty damn good. And your art shows up very good. So maybe the whole idea is they're trying to mimic the Watchmen paper from the 80s. I don't know. Who knows? That's what all this is about. But let's talk more about Batman Earth 1. So I raved and raved and raved about Volume 1. I think it's a phenomenal piece of work. Volume 2 is really, really good. Volume 3 overall, I think, suffers. It is not as good as Volume 2. Definitely not as good as Volume 1. If you had to rank them, I would go 1, 2, and 3. You know, Volume 1 being my favorite. Why is that? I feel like, you know, the back, for the longest time, I have not looked at spoilers or I don't even think it was solicited as what the idea of this volume was. It was just like, you know, hey, this is the third volume in this hit graphic novel series coming in June 2021. That was it. Really didn't know what was going on. Now, on the back, it's like, is Harvey Dent dead? Because he did die at the end of Volume 2. And we kind of had this setup with his sister Jessica, who was, you know, involved with Bruce Wayne. There was a whole thing. That was one of the more fun aspects of Volume 2, was this setup of the Dents being a brother and sister team instead of just one person. So I have been liking the twists and stuff that Geoff Johns brought to Batman Earth 1. And I still enjoy them. I just think there's not as strong a twist in this volume as there were in the first two. So if you're not familiar with the Earth 1 concept, this was like it's another Earth. So this is an Earth separate from the monthly books and all that. Earth 1. And the Batman in this world is Bruce Wayne, right? But the twist that Geoff Johns introduced is that his mother, Martha, who I don't really know if we know her maiden name in the regular world, but on Earth 1, his mother is Martha Arkham from Arkham Asylum. And the Waynes and the Arkhams built Gotham as a family, and apparently the Arkhams were kind of batshit crazy. And by batshit, I mean that literally as well as figuratively, because in this volume we explore their craziness more than any other volume so far. And it literally has to do with the theme of the bats, which is why you see the bats on the cave here in the back. You know, which I think kind of harkens back to Grant Morrison's stuff on the Batman run a little bit. You know, so Geoff Johns is pulling all disparate events. You know, there is a bat signal that in here that's used a whole lot. The twist was, in the last book anyway, that it was a freaking phone, and that's fine. It does seem like Geoff Johns is slowly introducing the regular elements of the Batman universe. I think the downside here is that there was really no clear villain. Volume 1 had the Penguin, Volume 2 had the Riddler, and there was a mad dash to kind of solve all those problems and figure everything out. Here, it's just about this question of Harvey Dent is dead or is he? And Harvey Dent's kind of the villain. So still not answering that question if he's dead or not. So it's that lingering question in the guise of Dent coming around, being the villain, that kind of makes everything a little bit murky. And the mystery is not as strong. Like, if, to me, the strongest Batman mystery I've ever read is The Long Halloween. That is certainly one where I felt like, okay, what's going to happen next? Who is the killer? Is it this person? Is it this person? And when it was revealed, I had like a, oh, wow moment. I didn't have that here. Even the last couple pages kind of feels like some other comic books where they take the last couple pages and just shove a whole lot in for a final book or a sequel or things like that. And while I did enjoy the final little bits here, I thought it got excited because I thought it was setting up what hopefully there's a next volume, a volume 4 or whatever. I'm not so sure that I'm happy with it once I turn that page. It kind of seems like a flash forward of Batman on Earth 1, if you would. And while it got me really excited, it also kind of got me sad because I don't think we're going to get any more, guys. I don't really think we're going to get any more from this team, which I really, really want. Because while I may be disappointed with the overall story of the book, the mystery, the paper quality, whatever that is, I got really excited for the future of Batman that is set up in this book. And you will too, and then you're going to get to the last page and go, oh shit, there's really no more of these, are there? Because they haven't announced any more Earth 1 volumes. Like, this was the last one that was announced. I don't know if we're going to get a Green Lantern Volume 3. I hope we do. The Hardmans, Gabriel Hardman, his wife, write, and he does the art for those. Those are phenomenal. But they haven't introduced any new characters. There's no Robin Earth 1. There's no Nightwing. There's no JLA. There's no JSA. The team, we have Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, and Teen Titans, and Green Lantern, but they haven't all met to form a Justice League or anything like that. So I kind of wonder if this Earth 1 concept, this line, is dead. And this was maybe just the last thing to get put out. And that's a bummer because I really thought this was a strong concept on its own as a graphic novel and telling a single story. So that's kind of a bummer. So let's stop talking about overall why I'm disappointed that this is the last volume, the paper quality, whatever. Let's talk about the book itself. What is fun about this book, Brent? Well, what's fun about this book is that we explore what was happening in volume 2 with Waylon Jones, aka Killer Croc, and instead of teaming up with him a little bit at the end of volume 2, he is a full-on member of the Bat Team, and that I really, really liked and enjoyed in this book. You have him sparring with Alfred. Alfred's still the crotchety old ex-soldier and stuff that you saw. He's less of the warm kind of person he almost had to turn into in volume 1, and now he's just like all angry old man. And him and Croc going at it are some of my favorite scenes in the book. I do like how Batman uses Killer Croc and this myth around Batman and the myth around Killer Croc to his advantage. There's a moment in here where Batman's interrogating a criminal, and he's like, Batman doesn't kill, everybody knows that. And then Killer Croc pops out of the shadows and goes, what do you think I'm for? That was a really cool moment. And just kind of showing Bruce using his team to the fullest extent. And this book is like, the fun thing about Geoff Johns is that he's kind of going out of his way to answer some questions that people have always had. Or, the philosophical stuff. It's always been the question of, why is Gotham populated by so many crazies? Is it because of Batman, and Batman's attracting the crazy, or is Batman attracted to the crazy? Which came first, the chicken or the egg, the Batman or the crazies? He kind of tries to answer that question a little bit in here, and I think he does a good job of where he was going. I just don't feel like we're going to get to that final answer because of this book. Because I don't know if we're going to get another one. I really want one. There was a new character, another old man introduced in this book. And I'll show you the bottom picture of him here. I really did like his character. I don't want to give it away. Really did enjoy him, but again, at the end of the book, it all kind of fell apart. I kind of liked where it was going. who this character was, what his relationship was to Batman and to Bruce and to Gotham. And then at the end, it felt like the rug was swept out from underneath my feet, because they took this old man character and said, you know what, actually he was actually, not who you thought he was. And that was really disappointing, because I really like the moments with Bruce and this old man, who's not Alfred, by the way. That's not what I'm talking about. I really like this moment because it was giving Bruce hope. And every time this book gives Bruce hope, they take it away. And that's one thing I've never really enjoyed about, literature or whatever, is giving a character hope to purposefully take it away each time. I feel like, that's not realistic. Everybody has their ups and downs, yes, but nobody has this amount of bad luck that Bruce does. One thing that did strike me as odd was the design for Catwoman. It is not the typical Catwoman design. It's not even close to the Catwoman design, but you know what? I thought it was a whole lot of fun, even though it is a little odd. I'm not going to spoil it here, but it's definitely something to look at. But it does strike me in the same way as we saw in Volume 1, the first iteration of Bruce's costume. This Catwoman in here is definitely the first iteration of that Catwoman costume, and I think it's going more for that, not classic look, it's very updated, it's very modern, but it's thrown together in a way that reflects her first appearance and maybe the Jim Balent version as well, if that's what the team was going for here. So, I did find it odd, but again, it's a little fun in its own way, and if Gary Frank's drawing it, it can't look bad. Batman, honestly, I thought since he did in the other two volumes, he might get a costume upgrade mid-book here, and he doesn't. He sticks with what he had at the end of Volume 2. That's not a complaint, just an observation. I thought maybe it was a theme going through the different books. Another thing that we didn't really continue was, this takes place about, it says a month after the death of Harvey Dent, and maybe that's why we don't get another costume update, because the first and second book were 6 months apart. The first and second book had this really strong opening in each book of Bruce trying something and failing, and then the second book he tries the same thing and he succeeds, so you see the growth. There's no moment like that in this book, and I think maybe that's where this book kind of failed a little bit. It doesn't necessarily have to mirror, but that was what was so cool reading them back to back, was realizing that, we're mimicking something in Volume 1, or we're showing the growth, or we're showing how Bruce is improved as Batman. Since this takes place so quickly after Volume 2, there's no improvement. He's basically the same Batman here in Volume 3. It's just a continuation of that story that was set up. So that's maybe a downside or a bummer for me. But overall, I still think it's an enjoyable book. I still think if you enjoyed Volume 2 and you want to see where the Jessica Dent stuff goes and the Harvey Dent stuff, like I said, is he alive, is he dead, blah, 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 this is worth a read. The art is worth a read. Gary Frank does a phenomenal job here. As usual, it's just that one panel, I was like, what's going on here? But maybe, since Doomsday Clock ended, maybe he went back and touched things up. I have no idea. The colors are great. Inks are great. It's just that weird paper quality thing. I don't know. It's so weird. Let me know if you got a copy and if you can feel the difference in the first, literally the first couple pages, maybe 20, 30 or so, and then flip to the end of the book in the last 30 pages. You will feel it. Let me know if you feel it. But I do think it's fun, and I do think it tries to answer some questions. The other thing I liked was, you see Bullock in here. He's getting a little bit fatter. He's really, really more and more of a drunk. I was hoping maybe we'd see him in the trench coat or the hat, maybe kind of get fully there. But it does feel, this book does feel like part 3 of a 4-part or 5-part book. And with the ending here, with the kind of glimpse into the future, it does kind of bring it down, because it makes you really feel like you're not going to get any more. So, I don't know. I think I would recommend it. If you're a fan of Volume 1 and Volume 2, you're going to want to read this. It does feel like the other ones. There's not really a significant dip in quality. It's just, I think this ending, this last couple pages, the reveal with the old man, the glimpse into the future, and all that stuff just kind of threw me off of really enjoying this book as much as I wanted to, because I was really looking forward to it after rereading Volume 1 and Volume 2 this year and thinking they were so brilliant, and I was hoping for more brilliance, and while I got a good book, I don't think we reached the brilliance. So, there you have it. Let me know down below what you thought of Batman Earth 1 Volume 3. Am I right? Am I wrong? Did you like the ending? Did you like the reveal with the old man? Let me know down below. Try not to spoil it for anybody who hasn't read it yet. But I will see you guys in the comments and next time here on BK's Bullets in the Funny Pages.